As most of you know, here on Truth Be Told, we explore the mysteries that lie beyond the ordinary. And today we got a treat for you all that is fascinated by the unexplained. Our guest is none other than Ben Hansen, a former FBI agent who has become one of the leading voices in the UFO and investigations of this phenomenon. You may know him from Fact or Fake, Paranormal Files, where he brought his investigation skills to the forefront, or from the latest TMZ documentary, Strange and Suspicious, where he continues to dig into some of the most intriguing UFO cases out there. Ben is here to share his insights and the latest on what's really happening in our skies. Get ready for an eye-opening conversation. I'm Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. Please welcome back to the Truth Be Told studios, the one and only Ben Hansen. Hey Ben, how are you?
Good. How are you, Tony?
I am amazing, and I have to say it's been about a year, almost a year and a half since I saw you at the Parapod Festival. And first of all, thank you on air about doing such a great job. Even when we had a lot of rain and cloudy skies, you were the man and just still put on a great expedition.
It was fun.
No, it was
It's
fun.
fun. You never know. It was outdoor things because the sky. I tell a lot of stories if the sky's overcast.
Right, right.
We
I mean,
had
it
fun.
was pouring down rain that week, so we were lucky enough to just be able to do it at all. But thank you for doing that. And I have to say, with this new TMZ thing that came out, I really appreciated you being a part of it. Strange and Suspicious, and I just wanted to dive right into that. How did you get involved in that? And unfortunately, I haven't even got to see it yet. And I'm curious to see what you guys covered.
It was a lot of fun. It was didn't even know anyone at TMZ. They just reached my agent and I guess some of their producers had looked at what I was doing, and they go through horrors of auditions and talking to Fox who own and they're like
Right.
we'd like to do something, and the cast is a combination of people who are like podcasters on true crime.
Mm-hmm.
There's an archaeologist. There's detectives and all sorts of people from different. We don't just deal with UFO and paranormal, but missing and these high profile murder cases.
Right.
So it's fun. We banter and go back and forth. It's kind of the same style as if you've TMZ Live, and Harvey Levin is the host, and we throw out ideas and kind of argue, have fun with it.
No, I mean, just from some of the other stuff that they put out, it's pretty awesome, and I'm always about true crime type of. I think it kind of the combination of true crime and paranormal is always that investigation part of it, and with your background, I mean that must be something that really drew you to this business after you retired from. Now, were you an FBI agent, or did you work specifically for the FBI, or were you like a private consultant, or so people that don't know much about you?
A few words, sorry. I think I understood the. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So for the people that are watching, so we're live. So Ben, the internet's
There
a
we
little
go.
choppy. So hang in there with us. We're going to have a great conversation here shortly. But what I was asking Ben is, were you embedded in the FBI, or were you a private consultant? Just so the people that don't know your background, that really kind of brought you into this investigation side of what you're doing now.
I think I'm capturing the gist of no, when I was in the bureau, I had nothing to do with animal. In fact, they mostly have not been in that business, so to speak, for many years. Although I do know that occasionally they'll get cases on that. My interest went a lot earlier than I was like old, and started researching this stuff on my own, and I did. for the government was related or specific to that. I wish. I mean, it would be nice if it was X-Files, but wasn't any. But the transition, I think, I caution people, by saying I never claimed to be in law enforcement. I wasn't there that long. The thing that people kind of get in their minds when people come over from that, like, well, you got to be an expert
Right.
professional investigator to get in this. No, that's what I tell people is like, look, skills, and you can interview, and you know how to use this process and methodically look at things from the beginning to that's what's necessary. So did I gain skills from it? Yeah. I interviewed thousands of people of crimes,
Hmm.
and I think I have it for telling when people are lying, um, and maybe no most people, but all being objective, right?
Right.
Because people, they tend to side for one opposite conclusion or the other, and they become really their own being. And I tell everyone, I'm not invested in any case. Like, it'd be cool to find something and you that if the evidence is pointing you another direction, explainable, then don't let that buy you. I will admit when we found evidence things are prosaic, and I'm not like married. Yeah. So I think those are the things that kind of that I really got from my experience.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because there's many podcasts now and Netflix shows that are actually solving a lot of crimes and a lot of investigations that have been unsolved for many years. So it shows you that you don't need to be a professional to be a successful investigator. For some of those
Yeah.
people, well, for some of those people out there that are watching this today or listening to this today, can you kind of maybe give them some advice on how to do it right so they don't get in trouble? Because, there's a lot of times asking the wrong people or asking the wrong questions can get people in trouble. What is some of your advice on people starting in this industry?
In what way do you mean, like, get them in trouble
Well, I
for
mean,
asking?
through just liable, through even just upsetting family members, agencies that may be
Uh,
ruffling feathers, is just trying to ask the right questions and doing the right investigations versus just going balls to the wall and pissing everybody off.
yeah. Well, I think if get anything, we say paranormal, we talk about maybe ghost investigations and stuff like that, cryptids, you have UFO cases.
Right.
One thing is when someone brings you a case from the world that I worked in, where um, you first want to look at the person telling the story, right, if they're telling the truth or not.
Right.
But you can't be agonistic, right? Because a lot of people suffer true trauma. And even though, let's say, they have a paranormal explanation, you believe, someone will come to you and say, hey, take a look at this phone. I'm sure you've had this a lot. Take a look at this photo. My dad passed away last week, and I caught this orb, that I was reviewing, and it showed up right when I was thinking about him or playing along. Is this my dad? Right? So
Mm-hmm. Right.
one thing I have to tell people is like, um, first of all, do you want my honest opinion? Because it doesn't matter what I believe. And really good. I'm like, okay, because a lot of people get ticked off, and you didn't really want my opinion. You just want me to go along. And so that's one sensitivities, because there's so much power of how they relate that to their personal lives. This thing is, if they were lying and making stuff up, you can't hang over their head, hey, you're going to go to jail for any case, right?
Right.
So there's no real motivation for them not to lie to you if they're making money or fame. So that's kind of hard.
Right.
So, people getting also realize, of course, we don't get paid for it. So, um, do your best to be people. Nobody's experts in the field like that word at all, but we're all trying to experiment and to learn and provide insight and hopefully cases help people, but there's not really either. I think you should stay away from saying that a case is 100% solved,
Right.
or it's a matter of probabilities. And unless you have that smoking gun, stay in that kind of like vernacular and telling people like science is a probability that it's most likely this or most likely. So if you stay objective, sensitive to the fact that a lot of people are going to get offended, if it's part of their core beliefs, and you kind of navigate those waters. I mean, that's how you investigate this sort of thing.
Yeah, and with paranormal and true crime, like I said, has become a major genre of interest for many of us over the last 10, 15 years, where before it was kind of a taboo. It was kind of those crazies over there talk, especially about the paranormal world. But what role do you think shows like Fact or Fake or Ancient Aliens have helped your investigation investigating work play into shaping public perceptions, such as with crime and justice and stuff like that? How do you feel these shows have really changed the mindset of modern thinking towards the paranormal or even true crime?
Well, you're right. I mean, I don't think anyone can argue that before, let's say, the Showrunners was on the air, right?
Right.
If you mentioned ghosts, a lot of people thought, oh, that's the occult.
Right.
Seances, right? Sit down with a Ouija board. And I first got into this about that time period before it was actually started, but there was like every local would invite some ghost hunters on the play EVPs,
Mm-hmm.
and they play back these recordings. And that was like the first time I was like, wait, since you're telling me technology can start to capture this stuff to it, and we're not, trying to do, a lot of people still do that. But then the ghost hunters came along. It was the first time, I believe, mainstream was like, there are actually people trying apply science to this and developing theories. You can go back to or not Einstein, I'm sorry, blanking on who invented the not Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas
Tesla?
Edison.
Oh, Thomas Edison. Okay.
He experimented with the ghost machine.
Oh, wow.
Like to try and talk to the dead. So I'm not saying it was the first time that but when you put it on TV, suddenly it became acceptable.
Right.
And it became cool. And groups started popping up, hundreds across the country, and so when it's on TV, the downside too is you get some show that's just kind of goofing around, and nothing against specific, but someone starts popularizing a ghost app or something.
Right.
And then all of a sudden people are like, well, we use that because they do it on TV and it has no basis in science. Right. So it influences it. And now it's okay to talk about a lot of things. Same thing with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple legit videos from the government and the TV show investigate them and play them ad nauseum. All of a sudden it's in pop culture. And it's like, okay, well, it has an official stamp of approval degree.
Well, I mean, if we weren't alive, but when the, oh gosh, now I'm going blank on the, when was it War of the Worlds or the radio guy that said that the aliens attacked back in like 1930s or something like that, or
Oh,
Orson
Orson
Welles.
Welles.
Orson
Yeah.
Welles.
Yep.
Yes. I have that over middle age brain fog sometimes. But how people panicked. I don't think people would even blink now if they said aliens would invade. They're like, oh, well, I was just waiting for it to happen. It's a complete different mindset now. But and I think that's the exciting part of being about where we are in 2024. And, I'm excited to see what even 10, 20, 30 years from now, what happens. But we do have a question from the chat room. And they do ask, and in people in the chat room, if you want to ask a question, please leave it in there. And if I think it works well with what we're talking about, I'll ask it. But what do you find most challenging when conducting investigations into true crime cases compared to paranormal or UFO investigations? Is there much of a difference in investigating between the two?
I missed just the last sentence there.
Is there a difference on how you approach or how you investigate a true crime versus a UFO case or a ghost case?
Yeah, there's a lot of different one thing, it's a hard habit for documentation, right? Because when I do a TV show, when I started doing TV, a notebook, and I was always writing details. If I was going to then write a report, right, and all your chain of command, everything, like it's going to go to court, and it was very producers throw away 90% of it, right, and it's reduced to just a couple minutes on TV. It's kind of like, well, I'm not care who's going to read it, right?
Right.
So kind of back to doing that though, because when we have uses that do have a actual impact, right, to things such as, or maybe there's a national security concern, an object seen over an airbase, right? So those are world impacts, and so you have to go back to, again, documenting it and investigating it like a crime scene. It's very similar parallel there, not so much in the ghost world, although there's some groups who are pretty good and have a client, like a home or business, and they document that. So I'd say that's kind of like the biggest, is that you're preparing to take something to court, crime scene. And like I said, the repercussions would be, if that solve the crime, someone goes to jail. Who are you going to put in jail with, paranormal investigations? You might solve something, someone's hoaxing something, but they're not going to jail. So there's a big course.
And so Jamie in the chat room also, this is a different question, but it's kind of jumping back to strange and suspicious. Apparently Jamie got to see it, which, like I said, I have not. I'm going to watch it this weekend, so you can't hold that against me. But on some of the topics that they discussed, it's like, what could you give us some background on what was, or how you researched on the show itself, and what were some of the topics that were your favorite to touch on?
So the question is how I'm sorry, the first part, how does what with the kid?
So for the topics itself, what was some of the favorite topics that you discussed and researched on, and also what were some of the topics that you did discuss, and how were they? I guess for my side of it, how were they discussed? How were they picked? Did they already come to you with the subjects, or did they?
Yeah, both. They kind of looked to me to be the UFO.
Got it.
Again, I hate the word expert, but so well connected to those stories and things that come my way.
Right.
So I'm rolling directly to me, their UFO videos, and then I'll send some of those to the producers over. And the producers are also a whole team of people looking for unusual stories, sending to them. Sometimes they would have one particular person take the lead because, hey, you're kind of the expert on archaeology. Can you look further into this? And you mathematician, so can you look into stuff like explain more of this part? So that's what was really cool. And then you had some LAPD formers who were homicide detectives, and some of my actually, because I don't ever spend a lot of time myself crime, but these unsolved murders
Mm-hmm.
and possible serial killers. And so when you really dive into it and see some investigations that seem to be really botched in the world, do they come to these conclusions to be fact? And it's not like I think crimes there, but you kind of kick the audience and say, hey, don't you think someone should take a quote of this? One in particular was this one people probably heard of, where the husband was, I think they're going through marital problems. They're in the hot tub. They had some discussion or something. She goes back inside, and she wintertime, and then she was found on the stairs. The husband, calls 911.
Right.
The door, I think, was closed and everything, but the whole theory now was that he did. They thought that he took the fire. What do they call those? You logs with your fireplace stick.
Oh,
And
the poker. We call them the pokers,
part,
but
the poker stick. Yeah.
yeah.
Thought that he took that and attacked her, but there wasn't some blood or anything on the thing. And someone came with the theory that maybe it was an owl.
Oh,
Right. She actually had little feathers, in her hair
right.
that probably came from an owl, and yet we never heard if they tested it for an owl, and there were scrape marks in the shape of like talons,
Hmm.
and it's like maybe she went outside in her hair and she's like fighting with it, losing blood, and then she tries and falls down. And I'm like, is strange sounds, I argue in that segment, that be possible because I do know things of falconer and the marks that were left, and it's really weird.
No, that is really weird and weird. And I what I find weird is, with human beings, we're so wrapped up in things we don't know. It's instead of we focus on the things we do know, and we just try to go after everything that we know, but yet we always want to know more. We're like a cat, we we have to, why serial killers, killed all these people, why the UFOs, and it fascinates me because I'm the same way. I could sit and watch a true crime serial killer movie, all documentaries all day, or UFO or ancient Egypt, and it's fascinating that why we're so
I
fascinated
wonder
with
if it's a survival thing,
maybe
like
maybe
it seems a bit morbid.
yeah, right.
Be drawn to it. Maybe it's like our innate, say like, well, I want to make sure that doesn't happen to me.
True.
So I want to learn about this,
Right.
right? It's like,
Right, maybe.
that people do this.
Maybe. Or how to be a serial killer, who knows.
Yeah.
Well, we have some people that want to know about UFOs, and because we talk a lot about that, and like I said, next week through October, it's all going to be ghosts and spirits because it's going to be the Halloween season. So this might be one of the last times for a few months we talk about UFOs. And so the question is how do you think the recent congressional hearings on UFOs and UAPs will shape the future of UFO research and public perception? Your personal opinion, what do you think?
I'd say just because the motive, I guess, behind this, just because we haven't heard anything for a while, it has not there. I believe there's going to be more hearings. Floodgates could possibly break open.
Mm-hmm.
Be more, perhaps government videos. Maybe people will leak more stuff.
Right.
I think some of it's going to be released, and little. I think it's personally become undeniable that the government's already said some explained.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that it's actual, but I think it's going to convince more and more people you can't just have prosaic explanations for all of this. So how does that change? Investigations are going to go forward. I think they're going to start reaching out, um, kind of enlisting the general public's help in doing some of this, mainly through reporting. Reserve bases, we just don't have the best quality, content that's been captured by camera.
Right. Right.
And stuff coming out. You're going to see the military fitting their jets with cameras that can capture the and then who knows, in years here things could really start rolling.
And do you think like maybe a next big breakthrough or revelation? What do you, in the study of UFO and paranormal? What do you think is kind of the next big breakthrough will be?
I think, well, in UFO world, I think the next thing it's going to have official confirmation that the government or parts probably have known more than they're letting, because this point, they're basically just getting caught in saying like, no, we had an investigative group. Okay, oh, you found that we did, and now it's like they're crash retrievals, but yet the witnesses are secondhand witnesses. So maybe they'll get some people coming present credible evidence that they've had a crash retrieval program.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll kind of be the next big step. And also not to leave out ghosts. Your tax dollars have gone to pay for study, that when they were looking for example, Robert Bigelow's, Skinwalker Ranch,
right,
and stuff, where they were paying money to test theories and wormholes in Texas, and so the government gone towards some of this.
And I know you got to get out of here soon, so we do have another question, and I think this is a good one. Is looking back at your career or looking forward in your career too, is there something that you wished you would have researched, or is there something that you really want to work on next? Is that because Ben has done pretty much everything you can think of when it comes to investigating UFOs and paranormal, and even touching on true crime, and even the skies. I mean, he gives a great sky presentation, which I think stargazing, you guys, if you ever have a chance to go see him at some of these conferences, you should sit down and just listen to him speak. So, but going forward or even backwards, is there something you wish you would have been a part of, or is there something that you're looking forward to being a part of, or maybe want to work on that hasn't been discovered yet or hasn't been solved yet?
I think we're living in really exciting times. I actually try to do the opposite. I've tried to get away from it. I never thought that I would be in this, and sometimes my family's like, hey, why don't you get a normal job? Why don't you go work for somebody else?
Right.
You have a regular salary again and all this. And I'm like, well, I'm not opposed to that, but then I get sucked back in. It's usually a TV show or something. And so I kind of keep it as, but I do think there's a potential to actually do this now that government, is starting to come forward and take it serious, to help people do their jobs better.
Right.
And you kind of have to look at, again, going back, UFO as a national security issue. That's how they get their right. So when Congress and everybody is pushing for the truth, Are we in the threat here? I do think there's some dangers. There's with flight safety. There's dangers with we can't control our airspace.
Yeah.
We don't know who's flying over bases. We don't know who's turning off our nukes. Right. Right. So I think there's a threat, so to speak. But when there's a threat, they're going to put money toward. And my goal, I guess, because the question is like, what do I see in my future? It'd be really cool to be able to kind of keep up and help lead that conversation where it's going to go politically, because there's big social impacts involved here. And we're writing papers on this stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, at some point, because there's things that people just start thinking about, and for most people, it's just a novelty. But pretty soon it might become something you hear.
And one thing I'm going to keep praising you a little bit. One thing I really appreciate you for is your bias. You really want to do a neutral. You go into it as a neutral party and do the investigation. Where many, not saying, I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of people out there that just doing this for fame. I have to say, they're being part of a project or doing things that are really just doing it for fame. And Ben is definitely somebody that's putting the work in, doing the investigation before he opens his mouth. And so I really appreciate you doing that. I mean, that's...
Thank you.
Of course.
It'd be nice if whatever you can help pay the bills and I can focus solely. That's the point now. It's fun to do TV shows, but a lot is behind the scenes. It might be helping do TV shows, but I don't necessarily need to be on call.
Right.
If you really enjoy the sect and what you're doing, and if you're making a difference, then that's what I care about.
And it's not, for me, what I'm saying is it's not about, I've seen many people, they read somebody else's book and then they become the expert off somebody else's research. And so you're not like that. You do your research to present that to the audience, which I appreciate more, which it's not the fame of being on a television show. There's nothing wrong with that, or a podcast or whatever you're doing. But for me, it's about doing the work and really doing the research and learning for yourself how to display that to our audience. And I have to say that's something that, a lot of people should, if they're going to get into this, don't do it saying, I want to be famous. Do it because I'm passionate about the work and I'm passionate about getting out the correct information to the audience. So that's what I want to do. I want to try to, build a core group of people that really can bring the information to the audience and they can walk away going, I want to do that. I want to go out in the field and learn. So, but Ben, you are amazing. I can't wait to see you again. I know you have a event coming up, I believe next week. Is it Phenomenon or something like that you're going to be at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, heading up to Vernal, Utah, which is just like less or less from Skinwalker Ranch. So it's kind of like I don't know, I think they're in their third year or so. That it keeps growing. I hear it's a really big conference.
Oh, that's great.
Because you have the Skinwalker Ranch cat, you have Blind Frog Ranch, and all the stuff that happens there in the Uinta Basins. It's like probably some tickets left, but it's Wednesday through Saturday, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you going to do any stargazing or just more of a speaker?
Not this year. I think if they have me back, they want to add that next. I'm bringing some stuff, yeah, for sure, because I got a friend who has literally right next door to Skinwalker.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon Fugel's going to be out there. This, I don't know if he ever's gone out, but he's invited numerous times, and we just haven't linked up to go over actual ranch. But he's fun.
Well, I want to go on an investigation with you one of these days, so I'm going to invite myself one of these days and say, Ben, I'm going. So
let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Well, people go to benhansen.com, check out all the information, what he's going to be doing and what TV shows he's going to be on and what other investigations he's working on. So, but Ben, thank you so much for being part of Truth Be Told again.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Good
All
to see
right.
ya.
Take care, man. And everybody, thank you for joining in. We really appreciate you. Every Friday right here at 3 o'clock. Starting next week is going to be the beginning of Halloween season. So it's time to get those goos and goblins out and everything is going to be scaring us, the scary songs, music, and everything else. So I hope you tune in for us. It's going to be great, and I hope you guys join us again. But until next time, I'm Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. And don't forget, you have Robert Hensley on Monday with Minuteman Report. You have Bonnie Burkert on Wednesday with Truth Be Told Transformation. And then, of course, me every Friday. Take care, guys. This has been another episode of Truth Be Told. Thank you so much for watching. Recorded live at UBN Go Studios in Burbank, California. Join us on social media. Facebook, Truth Be Told Radio. Instagram, Truth Be Told Paranormal. Go to Truth Be Told Worldwide for more information on upcoming shows. This has been another episode of Truth Be Told. Thank you so much for watching. Recorded live at UBN Go Studios in Burbank, California. Join us on social media. Facebook, Truth Be Told Radio. Instagram, Truth Be Told Paranormal. Go to Truth Be Told Worldwide for more information on upcoming shows.